Hey, Rennie Joe here, and welcome back to Jazz July. This is the last video in the Jazz July series that we are doing here on the channel, and it is long overdue because we're almost halfway through August, and I don't want to waste any more time. I want to get through this last jazz album because, like I said, I do want to cover 10 albums per month, and you know what? Life gets in the way, and unfortunately, sometimes better late than never is the motto. Still, today we are checking out the final album in the Jazz July series, and that, of course, being Ornette Coleman's 1959 record, The Shape of Jazz to Come. Now, this is a record I wanted to check out simply because I heard the title, and I thought, like, what a bold and just brash title to state your album. You're really putting a big spotlight on yourself when you're trying to make such a bold statement that this album here is going to be some sort of complete change in trajectory of an entire genre, especially a genre that was at this point pretty massive and was creating waves throughout the music industry. Still, 1959, this is considered a classic, and the more I look into this record, the more interesting it becomes because it is a free jazz record, one of the first free jazz records, and one where Ornette Coleman like he says, really pushes the boundaries of what jazz is. So 38 minutes, 6 tracks. I want to see just how monumental this release was, and I want to see how much it plays into the albums that we've already covered this month on the channel. Without further ado, let's get into this opening track here, the most popular track actually for the album, and perhaps Ornette Coleman's most popular track in general. Yes, it is, at 6.4 million streams. Let's go. Only 4 members too. Ornette Coleman on the alto sax, Don Cherry on the cornet, Charlie Hayden on the bass, and Billy Higgins on that rattling drum. Oh. Jesus. Really piercing my ears as the 2 horn players here, Coleman and Cherry, come in. Sounds like Coleman's on the left channel, whereas Cherry is on the right. You can tell by the kind of tighter focus of the cornet. Sax has a much more open sound. It's like building sound. Our drummer here really feels like he was man, really set things up there. Had a nice climbing sound. A very urgent tone to this track. I really like what Coleman's doing on this left side here. Climbing up. It clearly, with free jazz, there's some sort of method to it. Improvisational, but kind of latching on to kind of loose ideas, it would seem. I really like this one. There's a really nice suspense to it, especially with that kind of building tone throughout the track. Oh, Coleman holding that note. A solid intro. Really good sense of atmosphere, I feel like, more than anything with that one. Just kind of ominous. A long fade out of the drums. Let's go right into second track here, Eventually. The name of this one. Oh, right off the bat, those horns go in their own way. Oh my God, Coleman. Pick a lane here. Our bass is here. Rapid plucking from him. Coleman getting distracting as always. Trying to let me hone in, please. Does Coleman know that there are other members here? I don't think so. I think he is. Maybe he's got earplugs in. Oh my god. It's like a whimper. What is he doing with this sax? I don't know, but I do really like his bold trajectory. Oh, I'm gonna be coming back to this album for sure. I really like. Oh, we got the cornet coming in. Ah, I love the playing of Coleman so far on this album. Oh, our drummer for a second just wanted his presence be known. Don't worry, we hear you, Billy Higgins. I really like what Don Cherry's trying to do with the cornet here too. Even if I don't think he is. Maybe I spoke too soon. I was gonna say he's not as engaging as Coleman. However, I do like this direction he went there. Oh, there he is. I thought I heard Coleman for a moment. Oh, they came together. They kick off the track together. They play along separately, solo their own way, and now come together. Free yet organized seems to be the focus. I love that track. Why does it have less streams than the opener? Maybe a hot take. I think I liked it instantly more than Lonely Women. Like on a first listen, at least, hit me harder. Let's go into Peace. The longest track at 9 minutes has 3 million streams. A cooler kickoff to the album, or track, I should say. Slower. Oh. Oh, our bass is sounding. Very clear and kind of disturbed. Like a horror movie. Oh, I do like this groove here. Guaranteed it'll be short-lived, though. Anytime we seem to find a semblance anytime we find a crumb of structure, it tends to go away. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. It was like a jump scare with Coleman just ripping into my ear. Not sure how I feel about this track in comparison to the first two. Definitely feels a little bit more slow, more vague, less to grasp onto. I do like its very laid back nature, though. It's very cool sound. Oh. Where'd our drummer go? Everyone left except for the cornet. Oh my god. Really broad uses of space throughout this track. No wonder why it's 9 minutes. The players forgot to play for a majority of it. Oh, there they are. Back to that. Okay. Never mind then. Every time there's a structure, like I said, it's gone. 9 minutes though, I do think this track kind of went by quick. Perhaps that's because it's much more sparse in its arrangements. Consider me conflicted. I liked elements of that one. I liked the use of space throughout that track. I liked whenever there was a semblance of structure for a moment here and there. Coleman didn't feel like he was as much in the limelight as he did on the last track, which I preferred him on that one. However, he does a decent job. I feel like, you know, the cornet played by Mr. Don Cherry was actually, you know, more significant throughout this track, from what I gather. And the bass player as well, that being Mr. Charlie Hayden. I thought he did a fantastic job, really setting an eerie, kind of horror-esque tone. Very kind of strained on the bass there. But I liked it. I liked that track, but I also felt like it didn't hit me as hard as those first two. You know what, though? We'll give it a like. Solid track. Let's go into Focus on Sanity. Okay. The weird comes back. Is there a bit of irony in this title? Because maybe it's going to lose its sanity. Hayden once again. Taking focus. Simple. Steady tone. Where are the other players? 2 minutes in. It's been mostly the bass and the drum, which I like. I love the basses here. Ooh. That tempo picking up as these horns, I should say, blast in. Ooh. I love those moments, those spurts of energy. Far and few in between. But I kind of like that. It makes you, you know, you don't take them for granted as much. You appreciate them when they come. Huh? Okay, okay. Our drummer here is not sharing the floor whatsoever. He's giving the middle finger to the rest of the band, saying, "Screw you, I'm not the backdrop." Oh my goodness. Oh, I love this. Really varied solo. Ooh. And that burst, like I said, the sparse bursts that come in and out, closing out the track. I love the carefulness of those spurts kind of coming in and out of the track. Congeniality, Focus on Sanity was a solid track, but definitely my least favorite so far, I think. A bit more Gonna say a bit more melancholy, but it's gone. It's got a bit more of a swinging sound now. Oh. Perhaps I was wrong. This is really playing with emotion. Oh, I love that. I love that. The rare melody to grasp onto. There it is again. And then we're going to spiral out of control. Not quite. There it is. Oh, it's kind of like a little motif to come back to. Not too much to say about this one. Feels like it's as free-flowing as ever. But nothing I'm able to grasp onto. Ooh. Here I was just enjoying Don Cherry's playing. I love Coleman's playing. I want more Coleman. I know this is a Coleman record. We're getting a lot of Don Cherry with the cornet. We're getting a lot of the drummer. We're getting a lot of the bassist. But Coleman's really warm sound. Just sounds gorgeous up against the coldness of the cornet. And I loved him especially on the track Eventually. Oh, that motif. Like a theme to wrap it all together. End of the track. Probably my least favorite so far. I liked it less on Focus on Sanity. I felt it was a bit more long-winded, harder for me to grasp onto, but I'm sure with repeated listenings I will grow to appreciate some of the more free-form nature of this record. Let's go into Chronology, the final track here. Another 6-minute track. Hits you hard with those horns. Oh, okay. I could be wrong, but when it comes to free jazz, I tend to find it almost feels like a compilation of ideas with how free-flowing it is. Because you can see them improving, and you can see them picking up on these tiny bits of melodies they kind of shoot out at you before they go on to the next thing. Our man Coleman, the guy I enjoy the most. Sometimes it's like the more I listen, the more I have these moments where I'm like, what am I even listening to? Sometimes it just feels like it's all over the place. Do you think it's the point? What is going on here? Okay. Interesting. Interesting record is the key takeaway from this thing. It's very free-flowing. Sometimes it completely loses structure altogether, it would seem. Especially in those last 3 tracks, I found it really hard to kind of grasp onto anything of note. Simply because the ideas were very varied, and some of the solos at times meandered a bit too long for my liking and didn't quite grasp onto any melody, or didn't make it easy to grasp onto a melody because it would shoot out ideas before going on to the next thing, which is probably the entire point of a record like this, the entire point of free jazz. And I know this is very early for free jazz. This is one of the first free jazz records that really, I feel like, took shape and kind of took hold of the jazz genre. but still, those elements of free jazz are certainly there. And I think for someone like me, who has not listened to a plethora of jazz albums, I've listened to a good 30 jazz albums maybe in my music journey. I've not listened to enough free jazz to fully understand it. Nor do I think even people who listen to a lot of jazz would understand it, because it is something that is very unique, very much all over the place intentionally. Sort of like you're trying to play all the wrong notes the right way. I feel like that is the best way to describe it, or it's like you're trying to be as off kilter as possible. But even still, there is a semblance of sort of structure to some of these tracks, and a semblance of melodies kind of throughout here and there. That being said, Lonely Woman, Eventually, and Peace I thought were fantastic. I thought all those three together really kicked the record off strong, especially the track Eventually, which does not have as many streams as those other two I've mentioned, but I still think really has some fantastic solos, especially Coleman's solo on that one. I thought was absolutely brilliant and breathtaking, instantly grabbing my attention. Lonely Woman and Peace, though, were also fantastic, and Focus on Sanity had moments that, again, I liked, but I still felt it wasn't as instantly gratifying. All in all, though, I do think this is a must-listen to, influential record. I mean, you could see elements of this kind of in other records. Specifically, coming to mind is some of Miles Davis' more experimental work, in the late 60s with his abstract focus, jazz fusion focus, or even John Coltrane, some of his soloing and his playing throughout the 60s kind of went the same way, where it just feels super wild, super invented, while at the same time, it kind of feels like a complete madman behind the sax, So you could see the influence here, because this did come out before Davis and Coltrane, arguably the two biggest giants in the genre, were even kind of trying to do something like this. And I'm sure with more listens, at only 38 minutes, this will go on to be a record that I appreciate more than ever. If not, enjoying it, I will at very least appreciate what it does for the genre. But that does it for today's video. If you liked the video, please hit subscribe and follow along listening to more albums. This is the final Jazz July video. And as much as I love jazz as a genre, I think it's fantastic. I am excited to get to the next genre, because I feel like, we're long overdue. We are halfway through August almost now. And I want to just kick things off with the next genre, which is August country. I want to go into country music. So please, if you have some country albums that you like, I know country and jazz aren't really one and the same. Still, if you have some country albums you want to suggest, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will love to check them out throughout the month of August, and hopefully we won't hit September with that series, because I have a habit of doing that. But as always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.